Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters video. Another Cryptids of the week here, and I am so happy for the random page falling on this cryptid because it is actually one that I was going to talk about probably in the next series, and the only reason I haven't picked it is because some of the other suggestions seem more interesting than this one. But part of the reason why I was going to talk about it originally was because A, it definitely falls under the category of some of the other really weird cryptids I've talked about in the past, like the Argo Pelter, the Funeral Mountain Terror Shot, and I think there was even one more that Dungavan Hooter, if I remember correctly, where they're almost like the tall tail-like cryptids that take on a whole other world. And part of the other reason, B, that I wanted to pick this is because when I was reading the description initially, good Lord Almighty, it reminded me instantly of something like from Half-Life. Like this would absolutely exist in the world of Half-Life, the video game, the computer game. And this one I'm talking about is the cryptid known as the Tripodero, which you'll see a picture of here. Bizarre looking thing, isn't it? It looks like a mixture of so many common animals all into one. It's pretty unique. By the way, I'm toying with the idea of potentially doing something like a Half-Life podcast, very similar to the Silent Hill podcast where I talk about monsters within the game. The only thing that's kind of worrying me is some of the creatures in the first couple of like the Vorgatonta in the first game. If I just talk about that part, obviously there's a huge history of it thereafter in the second game and then the subsequent episodes, so it goes into a confusing area, so I'm still debating it. But in any case, back to the Tripodero. Crazy looking thing. Basically it's a creature of some sort that seems to dwell in California. Yes, California of all places. Who knows where it's at now? Who knows if it still even exists? But apparently there have been experiences and encounters with this thing, enough so that people were able to describe it in detail, and then that way people were able to later draw their experiences and essentially bring this creation, whatever they saw, to life on paper. And here's what it is. It looks like it's something that has what's considered telescopic legs, i.e. those really long straight legs, kind of like what an ostrich would have. And it seems to have a kangaroo-like tail, so that long appendage on the back is basically, if you imagine a kangaroo tail, is the same thing, probably used to balance itself when it's upright, and then also used as a weapon of some sort. And while it has two legs distinctly here and most commonly known as having two legs, apparently there are also four-legged varieties of the Tripodero. So maybe it's a distant cousin of some sort, maybe it's an adult version, who knows, but there are apparently four-legged versions as well. The key difference is that these four-legged versions, they don't need that kangaroo tail anymore to sustain themselves, and so they just use their own legs, the four legs, with no tail altogether. Now here's where the most distinctive part is. The head of it seems to be a unique looking head. There's various versions of it too. The one you're looking at now seems to be something where it's a face but with a hole in the middle. Again, like straight out of the world of something involving Half-Life. And how it can see, I have no idea. How it can hear, I have no idea. Presumably that the hole that's there is used both to breathe and to eat, but that's about it. So how this thing exists as is, I have no idea. But there is another variation of it where it looks, and you'll see a picture of it here, it looks more along the lines of a head having like a bird-like head, like a common bird. It looks in fact more like a flamingo, if anything, where it has the beak, it has the face, it has the eyes. It looks like a bird-like face. And so that's yet another variation of it. Where these creatures live, they live in areas that have to do with dense brush and large amounts of, I guess, foresty type areas, which is perfect for them because they are always on the hunt. They only hunt though for birds or small animals. Those seems to be the main source of food for them. And this is the way it hunts. Whenever it suspects or it knows that some kind of prey is nearby, then it rises as high as it can on those legs. Those legs serve a purpose, not necessarily to attack with, but to create stealth. Because when it rises above the brushes and the trees with it, then it's able to mimic essentially a tree. At least the legs are. It stays very, very still, which makes sense. Because when you're walking past something like this, at least on a cursory glance, you're going to be able to think to yourself that nothing is standing out. It just looks like almost like regular tree trunk legs of some sort. And then that's where the ambush comes in, because once the prey is going underneath its area, once within its like a clear shot of some sort, then that hole in the middle of the face there shoots what's considered a mud pellet. I guess that's the way it's described. It's a mud pellet, and it shoots it with enough force that it's almost like a blowgun quality, where it shoots it fast, it shoots it hard, and so it hits the prey. The prey naturally will get stunned from it, and then that's when the Tripodero ambushes down and then uses that same mouth to start, I guess, swallowing or doing whatever to the prey to consume it. So that's how it hunts. And fascinating stuff. Imagine if this was actually captured on video or captured in some format where you could see a Tripodero on the hunt like this. It'd be really something to see altogether. And then another unique thing about the Tripodero is whenever it doesn't have its legs extended, then it can use the legs to move fast throughout the forest. I don't know how fast, I don't know how different it is from other animals in terms of speed, but it can use those legs to move rapidly, which also makes sense because something like that, having that kind of girth, that length on its legs, it'll definitely have a reach advantage when it comes to its running. But that's about it. Not much information known about the Tripodero. No info on like what colors they come in, no info on how tall they are. Based on the pictures, it seems like they're about as tall as an ostrich, maybe a little bit taller, but I don't know. I mean, it depends. Like the drawings that you were looking at, it shows the Tripodero in front of some trees and some brushes, but I have no idea if they're like literally standing right next to them, because if they were, then that really shows them being tall. Like literally they'll be taller than the trees themselves. But if the trees and the brushes were in the background, far away enough at least where they look distorted, then I don't know, then that means that the Tripoderos are actually smaller than they appear. But again, very mysterious creature found there in California. If anyone has any more information on this rare creature, who knows where it is now, but if someone has any more info, it'd be fascinating to hear. If anyone has any tales, anything else that they'd like to share, please post those comments below. So, alright everybody, thanks again as always. Take care.